Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Phil, I'm the Ordinary Watch Guy. I'm very ordinary, but the watches are incredible. Well, in this video, I'm going to take you out to Milan and let me tell you the watches there really are out of this world. In this video, I'm going to take you to the world of Unimatic watches and their boutique on the junction of Corso Magenta. Then we're going to go down the street to an amazing little antique watch dealer called Watch Hunters. Now, if you're old enough to remember those tiny shops that sprang up in the 1990s, I'm talking about places like the tie rack and the sock shop, those type of deals. Well, imagine one of those selling antique Vacheron Constantine and Rolex. This is mind-blowing. Then we're going to the streets of absolute luxury, where we will hit the boutiques of Omega, Jaeger LeCoultre and Vacheron Constantine. The watches just get better and better, going from grail-worthy to beyond the grail. Finally, we ducked into one of the most comprehensive ADs that I've ever visited. They had everything and more, from Glashütte Original, Panerai Tudor, Rolex, you name it. There are no horror stories this time. Everyone was so friendly, and I have to say that the people of Milan are an absolute delight. Every single one of them. I have to give out massive thanks to my niece Evelyn, who was camera and direction for the whole day, and Holly, who was responsible for the photography. So let's begin with Unimatic. Okay, so I very nearly bought an Unimatic a couple of years ago. It was so close. I was literally debating it with my mouse pointer hovered over the buy button on a limited edition piece that was all black with white hands. And as I second guessed myself, someone snuck in and bought the last one and it disappeared forever. The brand specializes in this post-industrial design using case materials like 316L steel, aluminium and other outer coatings for matte and sandblasted finishes. The results are incredibly distinctive, with design language that underlines the founder's origins in industrial design. It rebels against the countless clones of traditional dive watches and all the Coke and Pepsi derivative variations of GMTs. The bottom line is that Unimatic are following no one. They are a proud Italian company that sometimes chooses a Japanese movement or sometimes a Swiss, but only what is best for the timepiece. They don't tie themselves tenuously to Geneva. They are Unimatic. While all this industrial aesthetic might come across as a tad bit serious, they're not afraid to laugh with a banana yellow SpongeBob SquarePants limited edition or a Mickey Mouse piece. I love the bold use of black, black on black, the stark contrasts of white and the punchy use of orange. The watches are incredibly solid and robust, and you feel them on the wrist. Bezels are tight without backplay. A range of straps personalise every option, and sizes begin at 36mm across the dial. I was particularly impressed with the bracelet option. I think as a tool watch, Unimatic are strongly associated with rubber, NATO and nylon strap variations, but the bracelet game is very strong, with on-the-fly adjustment, a very stylish clasp presentation and solid links that offer no jangle or insecurity, with options beginning at €350 plus VAT, so around about £360 including UK VAT. It's a strong competitor for the Seiko 5, or if you're contemplating a moon swatch, I know what I'd be taking. Watch Hunters. Moving on from Unimatic, we walked down the street to Watch Hunters on Corso Magenta, and we found one of the most charming, gorgeous little gems of horology, a dealer who specialises in the antique watches of yesteryear. Entering, we found the owners, a husband and wife team who went to the safe and then began to bring out trays of the most incredible watches from Vacheron Constantine, JLC and Rolex. I must signpost you to their website, watchhuntersmilano.com, because it's worth it just to browse all the images they've uploaded to display. If you visit Milan, you must visit this tiny little store that has more amazing watches per square foot of space than anywhere I've ever been in my life. They brought out this 1948 Rolex chronograph reference 4099 with its rare spider lugs, which are flared. This model is the stainless steel version of a watch available in steel or gold. We also looked at this stunning ladies' watch, a Gerald Genta Longines in 18 karat yellow gold from the 1980s. They had the blue dial version also. This piece of 1980s fashion horology is steeped in the look and feel of its time. My favourite piece was this simple Vacheron Constantine from the 1950s. It was so fresh, with a beautiful condition on the case and light patina on the dial, just a simple breath of patina across the face. Hands and dial complications look immaculate on this, on a new leather strap, and absolutely ready to go, with a 12-month warranty from Watch Hunters at €9,000 or about £7,500. Details for Watch Hunters are below. Check them out if you're ever in Milan. Do not miss this shop. Catching one of the famous Milanese trams, we headed for the boutique district of the city, and things were about to get an awful lot less down to earth very quickly. You know things are very different when you see a 4x4 Ferrari parked outside a Gucci boutique. As a light shower of rain began to appear, people appeared from nowhere trying to sell us umbrellas. After having a little bit of fun with Versace, Lego and Prada, we got back to our mission of finding amazing watches. Our first stop was with Omega, and I got to try on one of my all-time favourite watches, the Apollo 8 Dark Side of the Moon Speedmaster Professional, the version of the watch that is not spoiled by the Apollo 8 rocket, but sadly doesn't have the newer META certified movement. Personally, I think the addition of the rocket to the Apollo 8 watch is a crying shame. This is a great watch that did not need fixing. It's a gorgeous piece, large at 44mm but rich in details, and the skeletonized aesthetic that recreates the cratered surface of the moon involves contrasting anodized aluminium with black ceramic, white markers and yellow highlights, and it's simply a great piece of watch design. I specifically love the rear of this watch with the exhibition case back showing off the 3861 movement, assembled in the same moon surface appearance. The circumference of the window, which resembles the window of the Apollo 8 Lunar Command Module, has the inscription Apollo 8, December 1968, and "We'll see you on the other side," reminding us of the first moment when man ventured out into space far enough to lose all sight and sound of our natural habitat, a phenomenon of adventure not truly recorded since the explorations of Christopher Columbus and the great adventurers of the Renaissance some 500 years earlier. While in Omega, I also got to try the newer white-face Speedmaster Professional model, which is a gorgeous watch, and also the newest release that everyone is raving about, the first Omega in Space edition. I can tell you firsthand that this watch is sensational and absolutely merits all of the admiration and the plaudits that have been thrown at it since it arrived. A META certified Speedmaster on a flat link bracelet in a reduced 39.7mm case, and hands that look surgically sharp, built on the caliber 3861 and £7,400. Damn, they got this all right. JLC. So venturing out of our lunar module of relatively accessible watches, scratching my head there, Omega, relatively accessible, we made towards another planet entirely, the nearby Jaeger LeCoultre boutique. Perhaps this is where the world stopped turning. The first watch that I encountered began to wean me off the oxygen of reality as I contemplated whether the Master Ultra Thin with date complication at €10,400 was even possible. The moon phase complication is definitely prettier, but I've never had to check the moon phase, not being a sailor nor a werewolf. The distinction between the two watches is somewhat irrelevant. I don't have €10,400 for the date or the €12,400 for the moon phase. Why was I debating? The room was filled with absolutely unobtainable watches, and it got seriously Alice in Wonderland when I tried on this absolutely glorious perpetual calendar in pink gold with green dial and rubber strap. It is the Polaris perpetual calendar in 42mm, a brand new piece that has just been released in this colourway. I say this through gritted teeth. If there's one thing that Hublot did right, it was introducing rubber straps to high-end watches. There, I said it. The perpetual calendar is photographed beautifully by Holly, who is a shockingly good photographer on her first mission. I was now aware that with this watch, I could track the moon phase both in the northern and southern hemispheres, and just for a moment, that sounded incredibly useful. At £47,800, I was definitely the dark side of the moon now. And my wife was sitting at home with her fingers crossed, hoping that I would return on that orbit without a new watch. The staff at JLC are wonderful people. They knew that I was not buying, but they enjoyed letting me handle anything I liked nonetheless. Vacheron Constantine. By now, completely watch drunk, I made my way to Vacheron, absolutely convinced that JLC were above Rolex on my list. I now encountered something that wasn't just above and beyond the crown. There was an interstellar distance between them. I saw the self-winding 56 on a leather strap for £12,000, beautiful and almost within a universe of obtainability, but it wasn't the piece that I wanted to try on. The piece that I asked to see, given a wave of the hand that said everything was there to be experienced, was the 56 Tourbillon. And that, my dear viewers, is a whole different, undiscovered place of intergalactic travel. It is another galaxy altogether beyond the Grail that belongs to the likes of Patek Philippe and a Lange & Söhne. This watch is hypnotic. Looking at the tourbillon through the loop is like going into a microscopic world of automaton. The realization that something can be so intricate and so reliable, so decorative and so perfect is amazing. Function and style brought together with mastery. The open heart of the watch beats around a set jewel, and ironically, you lose all sense of time and place as you're drawn into staring at it. At £140,000-ish, or about €171,000, it really is unobtainium as far as I'm concerned. Unobtainium mined on a far-off planet. It's possibly the most beautiful watch I've ever seen, but I think I also said that in Paris when I was looking at a Lange & Söhne. The air at this altitude really does affect your brain, and you struggle to objectively consider the merits of things. Pisa Milan. Not Pisa as in the Leaning Tower, Pisa as in the authorised dealer. The only thing I can really compare to Pisa Milan is the time when my parents took me to Hamley's toy shop and I realised there could be an entire building on several floors dedicated to every toy in existence. Pisa simply seems to have more or less everything you can imagine, from Hamilton to Longines to IWC and all the way up through Glashütte Original, Zenith to Piaget and onwards to A Lange Ansona, Vacheron Constantine and Patek Philippe. It's a kind of place where a watch enthusiast needs oxygen. To be honest, by this stage of the day, and we were about 5 hours into our watch adventure, and we'd been up and travelling since 4:30 a.m, we were flagging a bit. We really only ventured in to check out a very specific Longines model that had caught Holly's eye, the stainless steel Conquest on the pink rubber strap. They didn't have that watch, but they did have the bicolour version on the purple strap. A purple which, in all honesty, is awfully pink to my eyes. The kind of colour that people could argue endlessly about on a long car journey. We did get to have a good long look at the watch, and it's incredibly pretty. I think Holly came as close as a person can get to making an unexpected watch purchase, but she shied away at the last moment. The gentleman in Pisa kindly offered us a very special price, so good in fact that he asked that we did not show it to anyone else, and I don't think that was hyperbole at all. It was in fact the deepest discount percentage I've ever seen an AD offer, but it did remove the Italian rate of VAT too, which is a 15% platform to begin working with. So that was our tour of Milan, and here is my advice. Don't overestimate your stamina or your ability to see everything. In one day, it's just not possible. There are so many boutiques and watch dealers that we didn't get to visit, and I sorely wanted to. As with Paris, I'm going to have to return on another day. I really want to visit Breguet, and there are a number of independent antique watch dealers in Milan that demand attention too. I hope you've enjoyed the video. The question is, where should I go next? I have Glashütte and Geneva on my list, of course, and without question, a much larger mission to visit Tokyo, Japan. Let me know in the comments below where you think my next destination should be. What was your favourite watch on the video? Let me know. Don't forget to help me build this channel, like, comment and subscribe. All your encouragement and engagement is so valuable. That's all for now, but I'll catch you in my next video. Bye for now.